Hey, welcome in. It is a brand new edition of the RSL Show. I'm Alex Napoles. That's Josh Clark, and we're here to bring you the latest and the greatest with Real Salt Lake. And of course, the greatest is they had a pretty good run here in the Leagues Cup, Josh. I was fairly impressed, maybe not with the performance against Tigres, as that one ended 1-1, ended up losing in the penalty shootout, but then you bounce back immediately and have some really fun performances, I think, against Atlante on this past Saturday, and then, of course, taking down Juarez 3-1 just the other night. And
they didn't score.
Oh, they took it away. That's right.
Yeah. Well,
that's what it was. That's what it was. That's where I'm getting my wires crossed. Also, throwing this out there right now, apologies. We missed the recording. I know we said we'd talk after the Tigres game, but your boy went on vacation. And I know,
how dare you, Alex.
And so I tapped out of everything. My phone was off. I didn't even talk to Josh while I was out. So
it was rude.
I know. So if I get some things crossed up here and there, I apologize in advance. That's one of them.
All good.
They did have a penalty that was skied. Thank you, Josh, for the clarification. And so Real Salt Lake ends up going back-to-back games with clean sheets after having this early season conversation, Josh, about not being able to obtain clean sheets. Now you go back-to-back against Liga MX teams.
Yes, sir. It was refreshing, right? It was a good way to kind of pull out of the regular season play skid we seem to be in. Obviously, our expectations weren't high for this Leagues Cup group. I wasn't feeling particularly confident either, but I think it's been great to see some dominant performances, some belts to, and to see some other, younger players that don't usually get some minutes and kind of making a name for themselves. It was good.
There's a couple guys to that point I would like to absolutely highlight, because of their performances through Leagues Cup. I think you're absolutely right when it comes to they needed that win against Atlante. They needed that performance against Atlante to kind of get out of this little rut that they've been in. I don't even think, really going up against Tigres, I thought they did fine. I don't think they did anything extraordinary. Right? I don't think they did anything crazy. But then you see a different Real Salt Lake on Saturday and against Juarez, which was, I think, much needed considering the fact that prior to the World Cup break, your one win in competitions, your last win in competitions was to a 2-1 win against Colorado, and since then you went on a streak where you were winless. But now Real Salt Lake can say they won some games.
Yes, sir. And even with the draw/loss versus Tigres, it wasn't a bad game per se either.
Exactly. It wasn't bad, but also wasn't anything that stuck out to me as like, oh yes, this is the Real Salt Lake you saw before the World Cup break.
Right.
Now I think you're seeing that a little bit, more answers offensively, considering you had 4 goals against Atlante and you had 3 against Juarez, which again was awesome. But before we get into all that, before we get into game breakdowns, the big story. No need to bury the lead. Zavier Gozo, Crystal Palace.
I thought you were going to talk about the third kit.
Oh, we'll get to that.
There's a lot of stuff to talk about. It's great. It's a great day.
Absolutely. We will get to the third kit, but I think people want to hear more about Zavier Gozo and
I think so too.
how much it's going to suck to see him go. At the time of recording this on Wednesday afternoon, there's still yet to be official word, but I think it's more than done at this point, Josh.
I mean, yeah, he's been left off the roster, right?
Hasn't had a League Cups game yet, yeah.
Yep, he's, rumors and reports say he's been in London getting his medical. I'm sure we're waiting on work visas right now before it's official. He took what seemed to be his farewell photos, at the last regular season game we had. It seems to be done and dusted, but how cool is it that a 19-year-old kid from Eagle Mountain, Utah, is now in the English Premier League
from Real Salt Lake's academy? If I'm not mistaken, this is the first actual RSL academy player to make the move to a Premier League club.
Yeah, actual Premier League club, they do go up and down, but this isn't Burnley, right?
Right.
So Crystal Palace, who have a very good track record of developing attacking players. I think this is probably one of the best case scenario moves for him in the Premier League.
I do think,
And it makes me less annoyed that he's leaving because he is going to Crystal Palace. If he was going to second division Germany or something, I'd be like, let's just keep him around. But Blitzer, part owner of Real Salt Lake, also part owner of Crystal Palace, so there's that connection there. Clearly, the ownership wants him there, so I think that's going to help make sure he sticks around, or at least has the best chance to be successful. And he's not going to a Chelsea where he's just going to get sent out on loan, or a Manchester City where he's just going to get sent out on loan. Loan could still happen, but best case for him to actually be on the roster, maybe making some Cabarro Cup appearances here and there. I don't expect him to be starting right away, but
No.
This is the best case scenario for Gozo.
Absolutely. And I think also, too, you add on top of that the potential of Daniel Munoz, who may or may not be a Crystal Palace player when the transfer window closes up. The Colombian who had a breakout World Cup. He was fantastic last season for Crystal Palace, too. He plays that right wing back position. There's been rumors and reports all offseason long about him being potentially moving on from Crystal Palace. So if that does end up being the case, that's just more playing time and more minutes that is now opening up for Zavier Gozo. So still keeping an eye on the Daniel Munoz situation, kind of see how that shakes out. But regardless, you look at the development of a Chris Richards, right? The other American on the roster, who I think since joining Crystal Palace has taken some tremendous steps in his career. Easily, I think, in my opinion, the best center back in the national team pool. So if there's,
it's not even close.
Yeah. So if there's any, if there's that type of trajectory, if he goes anywhere near the Chris Richards trajectory, I think it's a fantastic landing spot for Zavier Gozo. I think it's really unfortunate that he has to leave, right? I think it's really unfortunate that Real Salt Lake can't hold on to him for even till the end of the season. I understand, once the opportunity presented itself and once the money presented itself, that's something you should probably jump upon, because it is going to be Real Salt Lake's biggest transfer, as outgoing transfer, as far as the sum goes and the price goes. For an academy kid going for 15 million, I think that's fantastic, which obviously could end up going up with incentives, etc. You take that opportunity. It's unfortunate and sad almost that Zavier goes, right? And sad that Zavier Gozo has to go. But I don't think I could be happier for, again, an RSL guy, an RSL Academy kid, a Utah kid making a big move over the Prem.
Not only the initial fee, right, with add-ons, but 25% sell-on clause.
And you have a sell-on clause, yep.
If he does anything like the rest of the Crystal Palace attackers have of late, the sell-on clause could end up being more than the $15 million that we got for him initially, right? This could be a move that feeds RSL for years, right?
Yes, yep. And that's what you want out of your academy. The reality is that's, this is exactly what you want from the players coming through the academy. You want them to have breakout seasons in Major League Soccer the way you saw Zavier Gozo have the last 2 years. You want these type of moves for them. You want this is good business for the RSL Academy. This is great business for Real Salt Lake. Selfishly, obviously, I would love to continue to see that number 72 on the field for Real Salt Lake, but it's not the case. And so now I just wish him nothing but the best, wish him nothing but love. And if he's, gets anywhere near the potential that everybody thinks and everybody believes he can get to, he's going to be a fantastic player, not just for Crystal Palace, but for the U.S. men's national team as well in the near future. And
hopefully in 10 years, he just comes back home.
Possible, yeah.
I think it's a good move, right? Again, just like I'll echo your sentiment. Sad he's going.
Yeah.
I honestly can't wait for the season schedule change to hit, so we're not dealing with losing guys middle of the year like this. But yeah, you got to let it. He wants to go. The money's there. It's right in the range that we anticipated, right? So it's not the $3 million offer for Diego Luna. I'm good with it.
I remember how surprised people were when I told them that I thought Gozo would go before Luna. Now here we are. Here we are.
I think we've been predicting that for a while.
Yes. Here on the show, yes. I've had people who, kind of relatively closely follow Real Salt Lake, and especially towards the beginning of the year, right? As soon as, Gozo was becoming a name, people were asking me, right, who goes first, Diego Luna or Zavier Gozo? And I said, no, it's going to be Gozo. Absolutely. We've talked about on the show before, right? The pace, the position, the wingers, the athleticism, the IQ. It's everything that the European teams look for in their wingers and
Mm-hmm.
players who play his position. Players who play the right wing back in Crystal Palace system, or a system like that. He's a perfect fit, and so it wasn't going to surprise me to see him go first. Now here we are, and Gozo's moving on.
It's crazy. I never thought we'd be shipping off an academy product to the EPL.
Hey, there you go. Now look
Never
at it
did.
though. Again though, like it's great business for Real. So like it's great for whatever academy kid decides in the future that's a path that is possible, right? There's a path there for Real Lake to get players from the academy and say, hey, look, this is similar to what we talked about Gomez. There's a path for you to make it to Europe, and now I feel like that's just getting even stronger with the potential of Zavier Gozo joining Crystal Palace.
Yeah, especially being not just a young player coming in and developing, getting purchased and getting developed. It's come in as a kid. We had one already do this, and we have others that are probably going to do the same, right? Yeah, I could see this happening with Aiden, with Moisa. Maybe not for as much money, but they're going to get a good move and they're going to have
Absolutely.
a good career, right?
Absolutely.
And if Carson was here, I'm sure he could rattle off a bunch more that haven't even made the first team yet, right? So
exactly. All good things for Real Lake. Again, I know from the fan perspective, it sucks losing Zavier Gozo, but I can only see positives coming out from Zavier Gozo going over to Crystal Palace. And again, we wish him nothing but the best.
Now, let's just hope that we reinvest that $15 million.
Very curious. Yeah. Very, very curious to see how Real Lake decides to reinvest the money.
Yeah. Where I know your answer, I know my answer, we've talked about it, right? But I can see some now question marks where the front office will be like, do we really need to strengthen this area? With the form of Ruiz, right, in the last couple matches, are they really going to be looking for a central midfielder now? With Arias, he's looked great.
Absolutely.
Are they really going to start looking for another center back now, right? So I still hope they do.
You know what? I hope they do, but let's also learn the lessons from 2013 or 2023. In the sense that what happened after Gozo went off for a lump sum, right? A big money. Not just the drop off, but I mean like the quick acquisition of players that followed after.
That didn't work out.
Yeah, some of them, are still around. Some of them most of them are no longer here because it just didn't work out. You look at the Diogo Gonçalves move. That came in shortly after Gomez had left the club. The Lachlan Brook experiment.
Right. I forgot about that.
The Dominic Marchik experiment. He's still one of the guys on the roster, but he's sitting on a U22 tag and hasn't necessarily delivered to, I think, the extent that the club expected him to, or maybe even the fans wanted him to.
Yeah, I don't think he's one that's going to be around forever.
Yeah, and so there's I think a lot of lessons to be learned from 2023 in the sense that and how Gomez left the club, and the transfer windows that followed that I thought that obviously set back Real like last season, and you kind of moved on from that a little bit. To their credit, the only move they've made so far this summer window is, of course, bringing in Saba from Atlanta United, which so far he's been fantastic.
He's been good.
But let's not panic by a bunch of players the way that we saw with that crop of players. And
right, but let's also not get too focused on someone having a good 2 games and thinking we don't need to reinforce that position.
That too, absolutely. So you have to find that balance. You have to find that line, right? Of we're not going to panic by a bunch of players, but we also need to recognize what areas need to improve still. I still think defensively this team can be better.
We even with Arias being better, Glad potentially being healthy soon, I really do think a top-notch center back should be priority.
Have him line up alongside Glad and Arias, because I think I'm on
Yep.
the Arias and Glad train. As far
Yes.
as
Oh yeah.
I want to see those two guys on the field, and I want to see how they work together.
Yes.
Obviously, Glad with his injury, Arias has been kind of filling in the Justin Glad role, but I think those two next to each other could be really fun.
Right. And we've seen what we've needed to see out of Philip Quinton. Sam Junk was taking a step back. Lucas Engel, he's fine, right? Those guys are all depth pieces to me, not starting guys.
DeAndre Yedlin.
Yeah, I mean, I'd even be fine with some right back coverage too.
Which now it becomes a question because I think even though Zach Booth has been phenomenal in through Leagues Cup play,
I don't think he's winning MLS Cup.
I don't know if he's necessarily the answer. And I like, and I'll credit and I'll applaud somebody who recognizes that there's now an open spot on the roster. There's now an open spot in the starting 11 that needs to be filled, and I thought that he's stepped up to the plate and done really, really well with it. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know if I can say the same thing about Dominic. And I don't know if that's going to be a place where you want DeAndre Yedlin playing 90 minutes anymore.
No, he's been very inconsistent.
Right.
Right.
So that's another area that I think Real League needs to look at as far as potentially filling in before the summer window closes.
Right. Just it's not to take away from any of these guys, but it's strengthening this squad to actually make a run.
Yeah, you're in a spot right now where you're on the table in a really, really good spot to compete, right? Nobody expected Real League to have the start of the season that they had, but they have done it. Now, how can you build upon it? Losing Gozo sucks, but you can still build upon it by bringing in the right reinforcements.
Yep. 100%. That's all I'm saying, right? We don't know if Pablo Ruiz is going to continue playing the way he has.
I think that's a guy who also realizes that there's a spot for the taking right now because like Caliscan has been fine since returning back from the World Cup break. He had a good start to the season, earned himself a starting spot next to Stein Spearings, but he was fine after. He's been fine after the break, and even then, I think Stein has also dropped off.
Just fine.
Yeah. He dropped off a little bit from where he was at the beginning of the season too. So that's another area that I think could be reinforced as well, even with Pablo Ruiz also coming back in and now looking like the Pablo Ruiz of old.
Right. But again, with injury history, how much can you rely on that?
Right.
And Griffin Dillon's fine as well, but not someone you want to rely on.
And out for an extended period of time.
Right. So it's like, how about we just get someone really good in the central midfield and let those guys compete to come in, 80th minute?
Yeah. Do you think Brian Ojeda would be open to a move back? see how much you can get out of that.
I would love that.
I know. I would too.
But then that one would be tough though, because we'd have very high expectations and you wouldn't want to be let down per se.
That's true. That is an area though that I think that Ross Lake could
I just want a top-notch center back, man. I want a Natum coming in, locking this defense down. It would just be so great, right? And even with Glad getting healthy, we haven't been that sold on Glad forever. He's just our best defender.
Right.
So what I mean? It's so hard. I don't envy the position the front office is in right now.
Absolutely not.
It's a tough one.
Absolutely not. But I'll give him credit for the last couple windows.
Absolutely.
Because
credit for Sergi.
Credit for Sergi, who.
But that's also something we need to think about, Alex, is Victor clearly isn't. I mean, he's not even getting starts, right? You're getting guys played out of position above him. If Sergi does get moved on, which isn't out of the realm of possibilities, right? Are we now in the market for another striker? Because our APL's out.
I think it also speaks volumes that Lineker Rodriguez is signed to an MLS contract and is rewarded with a start against Juarez versus Victor.
And gets a goal.
Who
hasn't scored a goal and who has?
Victor Oltunji.
I really wish he'd score, man. I love Victor. I need him to produce, dude.
Need him to figure it out. Even in the appearances that we have seen from Victor Latunji in the Open Cup, or not the Open Cup. I wish we were playing Open Cup.
What's an Open Cup?
In Leagues Cup, I have been sold on Victor, man, this season, which is super unfortunate.
Yeah, his drop-off is crazy.
He started against Tigres and was essentially non-existent. Non-factor. Came on, played 23 minutes against Juarez, and again, just didn't really do much to impact the game.
Yeah. I mean, his movement was there. He won some balls, held it up, but like, you got to score some goals, right? I'm giving like Aguila Vogie more leeway because that's not his primary role.
No, but even then, Morgan's creating. And I know he got his...
Exactly.
I know he got his... what's it called? I know he got his... Penalty goal. Yeah, his penalty goal against
beautifully taken, by the way.
Lovely. But, you go back to Atlanta game and he assisted in that one. You go back to the Tigres game, he assisted in that one. He got a red card against Portland, but who assisted Juanma's goal? Morgan Giavogi. Assist against, assist in the Dallas game, assist in the San Diego game, assist in the Atlanta game. Like,
he's contributing.
He's not scoring, but he's contributing. And that is the argument that I will continue to make on Morgan Giavogi. I know a lot of people want
to be a big Giavogi guy.
Yes, I know people online, want to see more and want to see him score, which absolutely, like, yes, if he can add scoring to that, then he's fantastic, right? Mm-hmm. But even with him not scoring, he's still impacting the game in many, many ways, including teeing up his teammates.
Yep. And he's a player that you can tell when he's not on the field.
Yes. So far this season, absolutely. Right. When he's not played. Go back to the St. Louis game.
Right. Needed him badly.
I think Real Salt probably win that game had he not been suspended, right? For the red card.
Really glad we didn't record after that one because I was not pleased.
Not feeling it?
No, I was not happy. Very happy we pulled out of that slide so far.
Well, okay. So let's get into the game breakdowns here a little bit. With you go back to that St. Louis game, it's 1-1. Real Salt end up taking a lead in that game. Saba comes in the second half and completely changes the dynamic, completely changes
He's a player, dude.
I've loved everything that he's brought so far. But again, you look at the guy you're missing, you look at Giavogi who's missing, and it's like, okay, you probably win that game if Morgan's playing. And I think coming out of that St. Louis game, I felt as if Real Salt were really going to struggle offensively down the stretch.
Yep. Agreed.
It seemed like they needed answers offensively, and they needed them fast, and we didn't really see them against Tigres. Again, credit to Tigres, who is still a fine Liga MX team.
They're a storied club, right?
Yeah, one of the
even
more
when they're
teams.
Bad, they're still good.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
One of the more popular teams in Mexico. But you get a lot of answers, I think, against Atlante, who have had a good start to the season in Mexico. Real Salt puts 4 on them, and then again you go back to the Juarez game, and Real Salt puts up 3.
Answers found.
I think they needed this rut. They needed to get out of the rut. They needed these type of performances, I think, to carry into MLS play. Whether Real Salt advance in Leagues Cup, whether or if that's it for them, I think that Leagues Cup really played a big part now, I think, for Real Salt to figure things out offensively without Zavier Gozo.
Right, and without dropping points in league play.
Yes.
Right. Leagues Cup got Sergei back in form.
Absolutely. That's what
we needed.
That's somebody who needed to kind of figure things out a little bit. Was a non-factor, I think, against Portland. Didn't necessarily have there's a lot of players on this roster that I think didn't have the performances that they wanted to coming back from the World Cup break. Diego Luna being a big one.
Still.
And even then, like, I thought against Atlanta, he was fantastic.
Oh, I agree, but he's not living up to his expectations still, even though he was fantastic, right? Because he's not putting goals in the back of the net.
Right, but again, similar to what we're talking about with Morgan.
Right, he is creating. He's getting assists.
He's creating. He's assisting.
Fine. But when you're the star right? You're going to have that little more pressure on you. And I hope he can start really producing and really getting back that flair and that hype, right? Because a lot of that's been gone.
Yeah. He did have the 2 assists against Atlante. And I thought he was good against Juarez. Didn't assist, didn't score, which is fine. But he looked more like the Diego Luna we saw against Atlante versus the Diego Luna you saw against St. Louis and Portland.
Yeah. Again, I think Leagues Cup was just a good way. It was almost like another little preseason that mattered.
Yeah. Great way to.
And they found their form. And we got out of it unscathed with injury. And again, if we don't get out, I think this Leagues Cup was a success for Real Salt Lake.
As far as Leagues Cups go, as far as the qualification for the next round goes, as we've mentioned it before on the show, it is the top 4 Liga MX teams who will advance, and the top 4 MLS teams who will advance. As of the time of this recording, there is still a lot of games that need to be played in Leagues Cup, but Real Salt Lake is sitting in second.
Yeah, we need some results to go our way.
So Austin is sitting in 4th with 6 points. Chicago's sitting in 6th with 2 points. Dallas in 2nd with 6. LAFC in 8th with 5. And so there are some really, really important results coming up here for Real Salt Lake that need to go their way. I would probably say you can get away with potentially 2, but definitely 3 or 4.
Yep.
Need to go Real Salt Lake's way if they want a chance at qualifying. So we'll see what happens with Real Salt Lake's future in Leagues Cup. But as of right now, they're sitting in 2nd place with a decent chance.
Right. And the goal differential is also going to help.
Absolutely. I think that was really, really important for Real Salt Lake to get the shutouts.
Which brings me to my next point, though. What did Real Salt Lake do in Leagues Cup that we don't do in regular season play when we take a lead?
Take their foot off the gas.
All right.
Kind of sit back on the result, kind of wait for, invite more pressure and kind of sit back and.
I think a lesson for this club out of Leagues Cup is start treating goal differential.
Important.
Like it should be.
Yes.
Start going for the throat, guys.
I think.
There's situations, I get it. There's situations where it's a really close game, right? You might not be scoring more goals, but you gotta go for it all the time.
I don't think Real Salt Lake is the only team that's guilty of this.
We're not. It's like a phenomenon against football, right? Like,
well, it's an MLS thing, I think, because the goal differential isn't the number 1 tiebreaker in this league. It is, there's more weight as far as tiebreakers go when it comes to wins.
Sure.
When it comes to right, their first tiebreaker is who has more wins.
Right. My argument though is to not really say we're going for the goal differential. We're going to keep our foot on the gas to win these games.
Yeah.
Right. How many times in the last couple seasons have we been winning a game, made some ridiculous substitutions in the 60th, 70th, or in Pablo's case, 80th minute?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You take off every attacker you have, and then you end up losing.
Park the bus.
Right. Parking the bus, it should not be...
It happened last Leagues Cup with against Club America.
Yeah, it should just not be what we do anymore. It clearly doesn't really work out for us. We don't have the defense to do it. That is a big part of it, right? We got to keep the foot on the gas.
Another thing that I think is a massive lesson learned from all this Leagues Cup stuff for Real Salt Lake is the Fortress is back.
Yes.
18 wins, 4 losses, 3 draws in America First Field since June 1st of 2025.
It's nice, isn't it?
It is so great to be great at home.
Oh, it's refreshing.
So far this season, Real Salt Lake just have the 1 draw and the 1 loss at home too.
Yeah.
I think the 1 draw counts as the Tigres game, and then the 1 loss ends up being the Inter Miami game on a Wednesday night.
Mm-hmm. Which, again, in that game, we took our foot off the gas.
Oh, absolutely.
So
I thought, for 70, 75 minutes of that game, Real Salt played Inter Miami really well. And quite frankly, didn't let Messi do anything.
right. And then you invite Luis Suarez to hit a worldie.
Right. Right. Yeah. Them playing, obviously, it helps out in this format when you're at home and you're able to play these in front of your fans and you're able to get these type of results at home. But it is nice kind of having that feeling of the fortress back, especially in a Major League Soccer where home form feels so important to you qualifying for playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Because odds are your away form isn't going to be as good as your home form should be.
What's happening for us right now?
Our away form's terrible.
Oh, it's so
but last year it was flip flopped, right? So it was the weirdest thing. Oh, sorry, you said home form, not away form. My bad.
No, I'm talking about the away form. The away form this year has been terrible.
It's abysmal, right?
Yes.
But yeah, it's fine.
So now if they can just add some results away from home, you'll be sitting pretty, I think, when it comes to the final standings, right? When it comes to playoffs.
I think so too. Yep.
Anything else you want to talk? Oh, I guess there's some individual performances we can highlight and we can talk about. It's Pablo Ruiz, who gets his first start since coming back from injuries, scores a rocket against Tigres, and then follows that up with some really great performances through Leagues Cup, as we were talking about earlier. Phenomenal.
2 goals.
Phenomenal. 2 goals, yeah. Had another one against...
2 goals from the midfield is great.
Had another one. Was it against Atlante or Juarez? I can't remember.
Atlante, I think.
Yes.
No. Yeah.
Yep, you're right.
We're really behind, so it's hard to remember all the individual games.
It is so great, though, to see Pablo Ruiz get back to being Pablo Ruiz. And if he can continue that form, if he can continue kind of, trending up in the direction that he is, I don't think there's I think you should ultimately end up looking at a midfield trio, or a midfield pairing of Pablo Ruiz and Sainz Bearings.
I think so too.
I think
also the benefit of him being back in form, we have someone that can take a set piece.
Yes, absolutely. That's something that's been missing. Yes,
and put in a corner and actually put it in a serviceable area. Not aiming for Philip Quinton because he's not gonna get his head to it, but everyone else will.
I think he's a little bit more. When you compare Ruiz and Caliscan, I do think he's a little bit of a more defensive liability when it comes to the comparison, right? When it comes to looking at those two, I do think Caliscan gets you a little bit more defensively, despite going to ground as in the weirdest time at the weirdest times. But
the offense he brings and the distribution he brings.
Exactly. I think that's a gamble you take, whether that's Steinspring staying back and covering a little bit more defensively, whether that's communicating with Sanabria as far as who pushes forward, who comes back, whatever the case is, I think that's a gamble you take because some of the creation, some of the stuff that you saw on the ball with Pablo Ruiz is just something that Real Salt has been really missing since returning from the World Cup break.
100%. He's a passing midfielder.
Absolutely.
First. And he can put that ball on a tee wherever he wants to. And when you have offensive players that can finish these chances, right? That's what you want in there. Caliscan is not known for that.
Yeah. I think him and Sergi can have a nice little combination. Once they get it figured out, you use Sergi's speed to your advantage, Ruiz. And I think that would be a fun link up that we can see.
Or a Ruiz to Sanabria to Solans, right?
That too.
Spraying that ball off to the left-hand channel, getting it wide for a nice little cross in. He can switch the field, right? It's so good to see him back. I know we had all kind of written him off, and that's our bad, right? But I think we had all the reason to. But seeing him back in form, it just brings me joy because just the memories of him doing that, back in the day.
Absolutely.
So,
great to see him come back. Again, I think you have to highlight Zach Booth, who I think right now is the leader in filling in for Gozo, right? The leader in taking that starting 11 spot. I don't think, when they brought him in on loan at the beginning of the season, I don't know if this is the role that they pictured for Zach Booth. Considering he started preseason in that Luna role and kind of playing up top with Diego Luna and being the guy off of Luna's shoulder. Like, I don't know if this right wing back role is what they envisioned for him, but he's played it fantastic, man. And I think that right now, if I had to pick the successor for the time being, it's Zach Booth.
It's got to be, in my opinion. It's got to be.
He was really, really great against Tigres. I thought he played a phenomenal game against a really good opponent, and did a really good job outside from the opening goal,
or the penalty.
Sorry, no, he came on. He came on as a sub in that one, but still filled in a role. Atlante is where he started, and again, that's when he had the. I think that's when he realized there's a spot here for the taking for me, and goes and scores, plays 66 minutes and scores a goal.
Mm-hmm. We'll forgive him for the penalty, though.
We will forgive him for the penalty.
That was one that you can tell sometimes, when a player's walking up, that they're going to miss.
Yeah, I didn't necessarily have the confidence written on his face.
No,
which is fine.
It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. It's Leagues Cup.
Yep.
It's unfortunate now, but considering that Rouse Lake is on the could potentially be on the outside looking in, right, when it's all said and done. But still, I did feel a little bit better about Rouse Lake now in a shootout than I did before the Leagues Cup.
Oh, bro, do you remember was it the Houston shootout where they didn't let Domi shoot and Domi didn't even get in, and Danny Musowski just oh my god.
Yep, that was Danny. Yeah, that was Houston.
Bro.
RSL just has not had great luck when it comes to shootout.
Not since 2009, bro.
Not since 2009.
We used up all of our magic in 2009, I guess.
You go back and there's the shootouts last year against Minnesota in the playoffs.
You can go back 10 years and more and just disappointment after disappointment.
Yeah, I can
talk about Kansas City.
I can rattle them off, right? There's the Kansas City one. There's the Houston one more recently. There's the Austin one more recently where freaking Andrew Brody was one of the shooters. I'll never forget. Yeah, they haven't necessarily had the greatest luck when it comes to the shootout. I feel like in the last couple of years. So
Which is annoying.
It was nice, despite the loss. It was nice to see Rouse Lake go head to head with a team like Tigres and kind of just go penalty for penalty. It was nice.
Right. The annoying part about not being good at shootouts over the last few years is we've had goalkeepers that are great at shootouts in the last few years.
Yes.
I think that's what hurts the most is the opportunities were all there,
Yep. Cabral I think there was one specifically that he got and it kind of slipped past him, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, his hand wasn't quite strong enough.
Yeah.
That ball was moving though.
But I still think I have when it comes to the shootout, I have a lot of faith in Cabral.
Oh yeah,
he's
the great penalty stopper.
Yes,
right.
So now, Rouse Lake will clinch a spot in the next round of the Leagues Cup if FC Dallas loses in regulation or loses in the penalty shootout, and LAFC loses in regulation and loses in a penalty shootout.
Yes, sir.
So those are the games.
We got this.
Those are the games you have to keep an eye out this week for RSL. Third kit that launches today. That will come out today as far as when this recording is released.
Yes,
Josh. So we saw it a couple years ago, right? We saw a little mock-up of it. I thought it was fantastic. Josh has now seen it in person. We've seen it in person, and it looks gorgeous.
Yeah, to be completely frank, I did not like the mock-up.
Yeah,
right. I was not stoked on it.
I remember we had this conversation. You were like, I don't know about it. And I was like, dude, it looks so good.
I've seen it in all its glory. I've held it with my own hands. This might be my favorite kit.
I would have to agree.
It's beautiful. The Black Diamond kit, everybody. Tomorrow, 8 a.m.
Today,
online.
8 a.m.
Yeah, today, Thursday morning, 8 a.m. online. Or hit the team store. They have a limited quantity. So this is going to be a collector's item, much like the Victory Gold kit. So if you want one, you need to get down there. It's beautiful. The name template, the font. Oh, dude, it's gorgeous. Yeah, don't miss out on this one. If you have the funds, get it, right? It's a solid kit. They're going to be wearing them Saturday against Minnesota. They're going to look great on that green field we have. Shout out to Dan and the groundskeeping crew. They've made that thing look beautiful this year. Remember how bad the field looked when he was gone for that season?
Yes.
He's an absolute magician. Anyway, back to the kit.
That's probably why. That's probably why America.
It wasn't a fortress anymore.
That's why it's a fortress again. Dan's back.
Yes, thank you, Dan. Back to the kit, dude. It's
glorious.
It's gonna be weird seeing RSL in black and red. It fits us.
Yeah, you know what? I love black kits. And I wish I wish more people would start using them more. Even like the LAFC ones, I know that they're a rival or whatever, but I've always liked their black and gold. Black kits have just always been so fun and super super nice to me. And so now that RSL can say they have one, I think that's awesome.
It's funny. Years and years ago, we were told that RSL could never have a black kit because they wouldn't let anyone other than DC United wear a black kit. Years and years ago. And then LAFC came around and was like, oh, really? But yeah.
now anyone can do anything.
Yes. But yeah, if you do go to the team store, expect it to be busy. As of now, they only have a few players available for printing. They haven't gotten all the shipment in of the templates. So Sanabria is available, Solons, Gilvogi, Luna, and Gozo. Those are the names you can get for now. I know Gozo's never going to wear it, but it could be a fun... It could be a fun,
nice little collector's item.
Yes. Yeah. But get in there, be kind to the staff. It's going to be busy. Make sure you're treating them with respect because they're all solid dudes and gals over there. But yeah, don't miss out on this one. This is, in a few years, this is going to be a very valuable kit on the internet. Let's tell you that right now.
Very retro-y feel to it. Obviously, it goes along with the
throwback.
Adidas. Yeah, obviously, It goes with the Adidas throwback collection. So it is very retro-y in the feel of it. As far as it even has the old logo plastered right across the chest.
Yep, the old logo, the old Real logos on the chest. The kit sponsors on the back below the number. The retro MLS logos on the collar.
There you
go. But dude, it's pretty.
It is. It's nice.
I'm so excited to see this on the field.
Funny enough, I wasn't ever really a fan of like the little E, that logo, right? The one we're talking about.
The original. Mm-hmm.
I wasn't really a fan of it. Never really liked it. But as soon as I saw in this kit, I was like, you know what? Maybe I treated you too harshly. Old logo.
Yeah, I know it came out in 2005, but it's very much got a 90s vibe to it.
Yeah.
And it fits the throwback, right? I love it.
So tomorrow morning, head on over. All right, today morning, head on over to the...
I think the team store opens, I want to say at 11.
Oh, there you go.
Maybe 10:30. I mean, Google it, but that's just what my memory is serving me right now.
But you can also go online, 8 a.m., you said?
I believe so, yeah.
There you go.
On Fanatics. But if you want it in hand for the game Saturday, you'll want to get over to the team store. And I would just, honestly, if you can make it over there, I would go get it in person just to make sure you secure it, right?
Yes. And on top of that, I know that, not a lot of people really care for this, but I care for it. You saw in the teaser, the little jacket, the black jacket that they're going to wear with it.
Yeah, that's not in stock yet, but it's sick.
I'm excited to see that one. I'm excited to see that as well.
Yep. They've got some scarves to go along with it, some hats right now. Adidas being Adidas, we all love Adidas, but of course everything didn't arrive on time. So
yeah, fair.
But yeah, it's a beaut.
And this is the first time RSL gets a third kit. That's not like one of those like Earth Day, specials or
that everyone's getting, and it's a template, and everyone
the template that everybody gets. I think this is the first one since the Victory Gold, right? If I'm not mistaken.
That is correct.
There you go.
And this is because the reason we're getting a third kit is because shout out Tyler Gibbons and team. They finally put out kits people want to buy. And when you sell enough kits, you get a third kit.
Yep.
So if we want to continue to get these third kits,
go support.
A, we got to keep getting sick jerseys that people want to buy. B, go buy the jersey.
Yeah.
I know they're expensive, but they're worth it.
Yeah.
Because then we get cool stuff like this.
Josh, you're a giant, you're a big kit guy. And I've loved the last couple of ones ever since, right, the creative direction has taken a different step. You can tell, you see it in the jerseys, and they've all been super fantastic. Loved Grid City, loved the current home one, loved the old Peak Utah one. They're taking swings. We talked to Tyler. We had an interview with him out here on the RSL Show a couple years back now, but I think the statement still stands is they're taking swings, and so far all of them have been great swings.
Yep, been good swings.
Good swings.
But I mean, at the same time, anything's better than a generic red shirt, blue sleeve, right? Yes.
However, though, the generic Believe one that they had in 22, I want to say 22.
The first goldish one?
No. The just like the plain red, it was just like a plain red.
That was fine. It was classic.
It was like a plain red, they called it the Believe kit. Loved that one. And I've
never really had an issue with the home kits. It's been the away kits, the white, just white.
I know that the white supporters one was supposed to be a nod to the supporters, but I didn't like it.
Yeah, I can't say I was a huge fan of it either. It's not one that I when I open up my closet to pick a jersey for a game, it's not up there on the choice of what I'm wearing.
But then they took a swing with the Beehive.
Loved it.
With the Beehive kit, which I absolutely loved. And then
everything since Beehive's been incredible.
Yeah, and now you have Grid City, which I also really, really enjoy. So
yep.
Love it.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff.
Go out, go support. Go buy your, what is it? Black Diamond?
Black Diamond, yeah.
Go buy the Black Diamond kit. Available at a local team store. Your local team store. Rouse Lake will take on Minnesota on Saturday. It feels like Rouse Lake just recently played Minnesota, although didn't really just recently. That was the last game Rouse Lake played before the World Cup break.
Is it really?
It is. Yeah, they went to Minnesota, tied 1-1. Now they'll take on Minnesota again here at America First Fields, and Minnesota haven't had the greatest return to MLS play either. They lost 2-1 to Sporting Kansas City. They tied 0-0 Vancouver. They tied 1-1 to San Diego. They lost 2-1 to Juarez. They tied 0-0 to Tigres. And then yesterday picked up a win against Atlante 3-1, their first win since coming back from MLS, or since returning from the World Cup break. So it's a Minnesota team who I think was in a very similar situation to Rouse Lake, where they need some answers. They need to figure some stuff out. Does that carry over now after taking down Atlante 3-1? Curious to see how that plays out, because similarly to Rouse Lake, they played a lot of games here recently, Josh, in a very short span, just like RSL. So I think rotations will be super important in this one. And again, I'm curious to see how Minnesota, if they can carry that momentum over into Saturday's game.
I hope they don't.
For RSL's sake, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, you know how I don't like to predict that RSL is going to win, right?
Right.
I just feel like it jinxes it. RSL should win this game. Minnesota has not been good offensively, but we also have not been good defensively, right? So there's that. You almost have to take, and I don't want to discount RSL's win either. You almost have to discount Atlante's wins because that team did not look good, right? So I don't know. I think RSL should win this one. I think it depends on the rotation. I don't think we need to rotate that much. There's plenty of days in between to rest, right? It was a Tuesday game, not a Wednesday game. So I hope the rotation. You didn't have to travel. You didn't have to travel, right? So the rotations to me should be minimal. I would hope.
Yeah.
This is a very, very winnable game at the Fortress in a brand new kit. We got to take these 3 points.
Yep. I don't think we're at that point yet. I did know, when I heard about Justin Glad's injury, I did know, and I do know that he was going to be out until after Leagues Cup. Here we are after Leagues Cup. Curious to see when Justin Glad will make his return for a Real Site. I don't think it'll be this weekend. With that being said, I would love to see a starting lineup with Arias in it.
Yeah, I was going to say the big thing for me that's going to decide this game is if Arias is playing the central center back role.
Yes.
That's where he needs to be.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Philip Quinton did fine on the right center back. He did okay there. I don't want him as the central right back.
That's where Quinton to me earlier in the season was kind of showing off, you know?
Yep.
That's where that's where it felt like it was he was showing that that probably was his best position. I don't think he's been, great in the center, whereas Arias, despite having the shaky start against Tigres,
he wasn't bad.
He was
really his first chance.
I thought against Tigres he made some really impressive tackles, some possibly goal-saving tackles late in the second half.
In the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think going forward he needs to be in your starting lineup.
I think so too. I think he's a short-term answer.
Oh, short-term.
I'm gonna harp on the fact that we need another center back in.
Yeah,
right. That's why I don't want to say a long-term answer, but I think he's a long-term player.
Well, I mean, we've been talking about it all season. You needed answers defensively. You needed something defensively, and Arias seems to be filling that in so far.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully,
maybe bring in one more to help him out, help Glad out.
Yeah. Then
I think we're in an okay position.
Maybe that's possible. Maybe it's possible, right? If you go on the market, try to find a left-footed Nato Manoda, right? And then you have him lining up alongside Glad and Arias.
I'd even be fine. Go find a 30-year-old center back that's just seasoned, grizzled.
Yeah,
I'm not mad at that if that's what happens.
I need to see Arias in the lineup. I need to see Ruiz in the lineup, right? How does he translate from Leagues Cup play to MLS play? Does he continue to show off the way that he's been shown off, and play at the level that he's been playing the last couple of games? Does that continue into MLS play? I would love to see Ruiz get a start against Minnesota on Saturday. And then same question with Zach Booth. Can he translate that into MLS play? I think he has absolutely earned a start, and now it's time for him to show if he can be the short-term Gozo replacement.
Yeah, I mean he's gotten a goal in MLS play, so
yeah,
I think the potential's there. And then we need to see Sergi continue on Sergi form.
Absolutely. Anything else, Josh? You want to say? Anything else you want to add? Anything else you want to throw out there before we wrap this one up?
No, I think we covered a lot, man. We'll end it with I'm just very pleased with how Leagues Cup went. We were nervous, right? Form was not good going into it. We needed to pull out of that slide, and I think we have. Now it's time to go in on Saturday and prove we have.
Absolutely. And on top of that, maybe next time we're recording, we can be talking about RSL, who's still alive in Leagues Cup and is one of the best 4 in MLS.
Wouldn't that be great?
That would be awesome. That'd be fantastic. Especially after you lose, in PKs that first game. I thought it was done and dusted, but then RSL goes and has 2 really great performances that keep them alive, man.
Yeah, I think, just before we wrap it up, I think the Juarez performance was the most impressive. Again, Atlante, they just weren't very good.
Yeah,
right? I know they've started Liga MX pretty well, but they did not look good.
Yeah,
at all.
And it doesn't help, when your head coach gets sent off.
Bro, it was funny. I was actually watching that game with a bunch of non-soccer fans. To be fair, I was at a birthday party, and I just dipped off and watched the game. And I had said, this head coach has a history of being crazy. And literally 5 minutes later, he's sent off. Curious what he said.
Loved it. I know. I would love to know what he said, too. And then I love that the walkie-talkie was back.
Dude, how was that a thing? Genuinely, how is that a thing?
I just think that I just think that you're in an era now with AirPods and with iPhones and whatever.
You're on a phone call.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you've been sent off, they need to leave the building.
Right. You shouldn't have any communication with your bench player.
No.
I don't even care about leaving the building. I just think that
no communication.
Right. I just think that if you've been sent off, there shouldn't be communication, period.
It's ridiculous.
But again, like, at least try to hide it.
Right.
At least try to be, at least try to do something where it doesn't look like you're communicating with your bench.
It was comical. The assistant coach is standing on the touchline holding a walkie-talkie.
Right.
I mean, what are we?
I don't think, we'll see if there's any extra repercussions for his actions. I doubt it, but
I doubt it too. But there needs to be a rule looked at for any kind of play. I mean, that's crazy talk.
I just think that if you're in a spot where, a player gets sent off, right? The player can't come back and watch the game on the bench.
No.
The player can't be communicating with his team right after he's been sent off. Like, it's to the showers and that's it. Again, I don't have a problem with the coach sitting up, high and watching the game after he's been sent off. Like,
sure.
Whatever. Like,
no big deal.
Right. You're still the coach. Like, you still want to be watching. That's fine. Whatever. But you just shouldn't have any type of communication with your bench once you've been sent off.
They should just create a hockey-like penalty box for red cards.
Yeah.
But they have to stay on the field, and it's just like a box on the field, and they have to sit there.
Put it over on
solitude.
over by the corner. Put it by the corner, by the corner flag, and just
have to sit there.
All right, that's going to do it for us here on the RSL Show. Don't forget to go like, don't forget to go subscribe, don't forget to go do what you have to do to follow the RSL Show for the best RSL content. We'll talk to you guys after the debut of the Black Diamond kit. We'll talk to you guys after this Minnesota game.